Welcome back to Quick Recaps. Today we're going to be talking about a 2009 Norwegian comedy horror film called Dead Snow. As the movie begins, a girl called Sarah is seen being chased through the snows of Norway. She stopped while to catch her breath, thinking she's managed to get out of sight. Suddenly a growling zombie appears right in front of her, making her sprint in the opposite direction at full speed. Unfortunately, she crashes into a tree and falls before being ravished by zombies clad in World War II National Socialist SS uniforms. Next, we see a group of boys driving down a road by the snow-covered trees in Oxford. While chattering happily, they discuss Sarah, a friend of theirs who went to the mountains a while ago and remarked that she should be back soon. In a separate car, a group of 3 girls is shown driving down the same road. The friends meet up by the end of the road and proceed on foot. As Vegard, Sarah's boyfriend, takes a jet ski to their destination cabin to prepare it for the others' arrival. Vegard reaches the cabin and starts a fire. The others arrive soon after and they start having fun in the snow, playing with snowballs and riding the jet ski. The friends then go inside the cabin and start playing indoor games. A while later, Liv goes out to the outhouse. While sitting in there, she hears some sounds emerging from outside. She asks who's out there, but receives no response. She gets out and starts looking around. Suddenly, she sees a swift movement in the woods and rushes back inside the cabin. The terrified Liv then tells the others that there's someone outside. The others go out to check and find an old man standing at their door. The man casually asks for a cup of coffee and the group invites him in. While sipping his coffee, the man asks the friends what they've come to the mountains for. Vegard tells him that they've come to enjoy their Easter vacations. He then asks if the cabin belongs to them, to which Veg replies that it belongs to his girlfriend, who's out in the mountains. The man expresses sorrow after hearing this. Vegard gets confused at this reaction and asks if the terrain out there is dangerous. The man tells him that something far more dangerous than that lives out there. The man then tells them about the dark history of Oxford. He tells them it used to be an important area for the Nazis in the WWE. The area was then under Colonel Herzog, a heartless tyrant who used to abuse and mistreat the civilians on a daily basis. Towards the end of the war, after realizing that he had almost been defeated, the colonel ordered his army, the Einst, to go and steal every valuable from the civilians' houses. The civilians, however, had teamed up and were ready to strike back. During the course of 3 years spent under the Nazis' control, they had gathered all weapons they could find and attacked the Nazis, killing several of their men. Colonel Herzog, however, escaped with a few of his men and all of the stolen items. The civilians followed them, but lost tracks in the mountains where they froze to death. The mountains have since been inhabited by an evil, he tells them, which they wouldn't want to wake up. The man then gets up to leave and tells the group to be careful. Roy starts laughing it off, but the man violently grabs his throat and tells him he could soon be holding his own innards in his hands. He then releases him and thanks them for the coffee before walking out the door, leaving the friends perplexed and unsettled. That night, Vegard sees a hooded figure crouched down by the cellar. Thinking it's Sarah, he gets up from his bed and follows her out the cabin. Outside he finds Sarah standing by the door, who starts spurting blood from her mouth. Vegard springs up in his bed after this and realizes that it was just a dream. Next we see the old man eating in his tent. He gets out of his tent after hearing sounds from outside, where a zombie suddenly slits his throat in the blink of an eye. He weakly goes back into the tent, but the zombie follows him in and repeatedly stabs him to death. The next morning, Vegard decides to go out into the mountains to look for Sarah. He tells the others that if he does not return within a day, they should return to the car and find help. Vegard then rides away on his jet ski. The rest of the friends are seen having a good time by the cabin. As Vegard takes the jet ski up the mountains, while making a stop to eat, Vegard comes across the old man's tent. He looks into the tent to find the mutilated corpse of the old man. Inside, he finds bloody footprints leading away from the tent and decides to follow them. Back at the cabin, Erland finds a small trunk placed by the beer cans and shows it to the others. When they open it, they find it filled with lots of gold and jewels from the year 1940. While following the footprints up the mountain, Vegard falls into an underground cave. The other friends are seen going crazy with the jewels, trying them on, and joking around with it. Though Martin insists on waiting for Sarah and Vegard. Before they do anything with the jewels, Hannah sneaks a coin into his pocket. While going to the outhouse, Erland drops a gold coin in the snow. Chris follows him to the outhouse and starts getting intimate with him. After a long hour of passionate lovemaking, Erland returns to the cabin, leaving Chris behind. The gold coin dropped by Erland is seen by a zombie, who picks it up and starts circling the outhouse. While Chris is still inside, Chris notices the hideous zombie and gets terrified. She suddenly falls into the outhouse and gets wounded badly. She weakly tries to walk back to the cabin, crying for help, but is ambushed by the zombie. After thinking she heard Chris scream outside, Hannah goes out to check, but doesn't find her there. The others then go to look round the cabin and the outhouse, but fail to find any sign of her. They find a bag buried in the snow outside and bring it in for inspection. Upon deeper observation, they realize it belongs to Sarah. The friends start pondering whether they should go look for her in the forest or wait. Just then, Hannah sees someone holding the decapitated head of Chris outside the window and starts blocking the door while screaming in fear. Liv goes to the window to check what scared Hannah, but a zombie breaks through the window and grabs a fistful of her hair. The others release her from the zombie's grasp by stabbing its hand. They all then block the entrance of the cabin using heavy furniture and move away from the windows. Through the window, they see the blood-spattered, rotting zombies walking outside the cabin. The zombies soon start trying to break into the cabin, but the group manages to keep them out by blocking the windows using more furniture. One of the zombies breaks a part of the door and tries to open it, but Hannah cuts off his hand. She brings the hand to the others to show them the ring worn by the zombie, which reveals to them that he was one of the Einst. As the terrified Ireland retreats to a wall by the window, a zombie grabs him through the window and starts pulling him out. Though the others try to pull him back in, the zombie splits his head in half, killing him instantly. Vegard wakes up in the underground cave and makes his way out through a hole. The survivors in the cabin decide to do something to save their lives, since waiting for help seems not to be an option. The boys thus go outside and create a distraction for the zombies as the girls run out to look for the car. After making a few loud sounds, the boys rush back to the cabin. Vegard lights a torch and starts exploring the underground cave. Inside, he finds a Nazi flag and several weapons. To his horror, he finds the severed head of his girlfriend placed by the Nazis' belongings. A zombie suddenly appears behind him and effortlessly tosses him out of the cave. He then follows him out and tries to stab him, but Vegard defends himself and manages to knock the zombie out. Another zombie then arises from the snow and starts growling at him while running through the woods. The girls realize that they have lost their way. Hannah suggests they split up and go in opposite directions so that at least one of them can find the car. Liv, however, insists on sticking together, as according to her, they won't stand a chance against the zombies if they split up. Suddenly, a zombie appears behind them out of nowhere. Terrified, the girls start running in opposite directions. Vegard is then seen fighting the hideous zombie near a steep cliff. Using a sword he finds on a rock, Vegard stabs the zombie in the eye and pushes him into a tree, impaling him on one of its barks. While he's busy observing the zombie, whose intestine has started hanging out of his stomach due to the impalement, the first zombie he knocked out arises and attacks him. The impact throws Vegard off the cliff, but he manages to grab the impaled zombie's intestine, preventing himself from falling. The zombie who attacked him, however, is still latched onto him as he hangs off the edge of the cliff by the innard. Vegard bashes the zombie's head in with his and manages to throw him off. Hannah manages to smash the face of a zombie who had been chasing her through the forest. Unfortunately, a zombie appears right in front of Liv and knocks her out with a punch to the face. When she wakes up, she finds two zombies crouched over her, pulling her intestines out of her stomach. From the top of a tree, Hannah observes an army of zombies assembled under the command of another zombie, who appears to be Colonel Herzog. As their commander signals to them, the zombies start spreading out into the forest while two zombies walk past the tree. Hannah is on a raven starts calling at her, since she's close to its nest. Hannah kills the raven, but the sound ends up alerting the zombies. They start climbing up the tree, but Hannah jumps down, killing one of them, and starts running away. While running, she nears a steep cliff and realizes she has reached a dead end. Turning around, she finds a zombie standing right in front of her. She starts stomping on the ground as the zombie advances at her. This shifts the snow covering the cliff and makes them topple off the edge. We're then taken back to the cabin, which is now under attack by the zombies. While trying to scare the zombies away with lit torches, the boys accidentally light the cabin on fire. They try calling someone for help, but the lady on the other end hangs up, thinking it's a prank. Desperate to save themselves, they run out to the shack. They find a few weapons in there and get ready to attack the blood-spattered. Vegard sews up a wound in his neck and rides away on the jet ski. Hannah wakes up covered in snow and starts screaming in agony. She finds a growling zombie covered in snow nearby and kicks him in the face, killing him on spot. Martin and Roy walk out into the open equipped with the weapons as an army of zombies charges at them. They run towards the zombies and start hacking them to pieces once they've killed all the zombies. Of them start rushing to them from the woods. Just then, Vegard appears on his jet ski and starts killing the zombies with a machine gun. He then kills a couple more zombies using his jet ski. The boys then catch up Roy and Martin Vegard that two of their friends have died while Liv and Hannah have gone to seek help. In the blink of an eye, several zombies appear behind Vegard and rip his limbs off his torso. They then proceed to advance at the other boys, who strike back in rage and cut them to pieces. While Martin is repeatedly striking a zombie with an axe. Furiously, Hannah appears behind him and puts a hand on his shoulder. Without thinking, he swings the axe and strikes her in the neck with it. After realizing what he's done, Martin watches her, guiltily caressing her cheek as the girl slowly meets her demise. Meanwhile, the zombie of Colonel Herzog appears with more of his army. The boys fight them off as well, but Martin gets bitten in the arm to prevent the spreading of the infection. Amputates his arm, but later gets bitten in the crotch by another zombie. After an ear-piercing scream, he stomps on the zombie's face and kills him. They both then look at Colonel Herzog standing right in front of them and decide to take him down. The colonel growls loudly and numerous zombies arise from the snow. Realizing they now stand no chance against the army, the boys start running for their lives. One of the zombies catches up to Roy and hits him over the head. This makes him run into a tree, which rips out one of his innards, making him collapse. The zombie army stops as the colonel pulls a jewel out of Roy's pocket, after which the zombies continue chasing Martin. Realization dawns on Martin and he starts running towards the cabin. After reaching the burnt remains of the cabin, he starts fumbling around and uncovers the trunk containing the jewels. After seeing the trunk, the colonel and his army stop chasing Martin. One of the zombies brings the box to the colonel while Martin runs away free. At last, he finds the car parked by the lake and gets inside. While pulling the keys out of his pocket, one of the gold coins falls out. He picks it up and starts observing it. His eyes widen as he realizes what it is, as the colonel suddenly appears at his window and the screen blacks out. Do let me know how you liked the video in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.